So in this video, I want to talk about something that I actually covered in a couple of videos actually. Something we just lose track of doing and we don't focus on maintaining this ability. It's a very basic thing. It's an Asian squat or a passive squat. You know, growing up in Asia, I remember sitting like this on a regular basis. And I go into more detail in previous videos that I made that, you know, my whole childhood, my mom used to sit like this, especially when I was little and she would play with me. And when I was in high school, like a lot of the guys, we were hanging out at parties, like everyone sat in like an Asian squat. It's truly a thing around the world. And in those countries where people are still actively doing a passive squat or a deep low squat, is you see no back pain. Into like the elderly, like old age. I remember my Lola, my grandmother, being almost 80 years old and still squatting like that comfortably till the day she passed. It's just a way of life for them. It's just a way that they're comfortable sitting. And it's good for us. And what I've learned during my Muay Thai and jiu-jitsu training is that it's very, very good for me as far as helping with some very specific things. And I want to cover those in this video. And I want you to consider adding a passive squat or Asian squat to your routine. It doesn't take anything. There's no reps to it really. So you just got to sit in this position for either an extended period or for some like intervals to hit a decent amount of time a day to get your body used to it and to strengthen the areas I'm going to talk about. So an Asian squat is very easy, but it could be very hard. For me, it's very easy to get in this position, but I had to work up to this. This isn't something that I was able to do right off top. After years of training, I couldn't even really get all the way down here. Not comfortably anyway. It was very painful. I didn't feel balanced. My knees hurt. My back felt weird and just was not a comfortable position for me. For a period of time, I had to sit in this squat to build up my ability to sit here comfortably. Now, why would I do that? And why would I want to be in this position for extended periods? And what does that have to do with my Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training? What exactly are the benefits? So let's talk about the benefits and why you should consider putting this into your routine regularly. We'll start at the bottom and we'll work our way up to the top. Number one, ankle mobility. Okay, sitting in the Asian squat, passive squat, like if you move around, you can really help strengthen your ankles while also creating a lot more ankle mobility, especially if you can sit down here and kind of just move yourself around a little bit. It's going to be hard at first. You're not going to feel balanced. And I'm going to give you some ways to kind of work your way into this really deep position here. But yes, ankle mobility, strengthening of the ankles. And of course, through that, you're helping your balance. Now let's move our way up to the knees. If you have bad knees, sore knees, pain in your knees, weak knees, this is going to be uncomfortable and it's going to be almost painful, if not outright painful. So one of the things that I started doing when I started sitting in this passive squat is to strengthen my knees. I started doing these pulses. And that actually strengthened my knees. So I do 10 pulses at the bottom, and then I do 10 pulses at the seated squat position. And that really helped build up the strength in my knees. Next is hip mobility. You're going to find it very difficult to get down here. You're going to have pain in weird places. Specifically your hips, because if you have not sat in a passive squat position or Asian squat position for a long time or on a regular basis, this is very foreign for your hips and your body in general, so it's not going to be comfortable. But when you get good at it, you can really move things around and you gain a lot of mobility and strength in your hips. Although I am in a passive position, I am gaining strength in multiple areas. So again, this is very, very good for your hips, and you need that for Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. Next is spinal decompression, like back pain, lower back pain, mid back pain, whatever you're dealing with. But adding an Asian squat, and I've covered this in previous videos if you're a follower of the channel, I mix this with my dead hang. I go from a dead hang into an Asian squat, and this helps decompress my spine here. So sitting in this position is really good for lengthening and loosening that lower spine. So spinal decompression is very, very prevalent. And so it's another great benefit of sitting in this passive squat for an extended period is decompressing your spine. The final benefit, while we're on the subject of talking about the posture of my upper body as far as decompressing my spine, it's also compressing my chest. So hunching forward like this, it makes it a little hard to breathe, especially if I've been programmed as a chest breather, which most of us are. This is why when you first start doing this passive squat, you're going to find it hard to breathe. Now, when doing jiu-jitsu, because you're a chest breather, your chest heaves when you breathe. So when someone's on top of you, you probably struggle to breathe a lot when you're grappling. When you can learn to use your diaphragm properly, then you would breathe up through your diaphragm and expand your chest from inside. And that when you're sitting in this passive squat, it helps you do that. You learn to draw your diaphragm in and breathe that way. So it is helping you train or learn to breathe properly with your diaphragm, which will help you breathe during your grappling or your jiu-jitsu. And in general, so of course it helps your Muay Thai. So I have these pieces of equipment here to help me show you some, or provide you some tips on how to work your way up into sitting into a deep passive squat or resting squat. Again, when you first try it, some weird things are going to happen. You're going to have a hard time keeping your feet flat. That seems to be the first thing. You're gonna squat and you're gonna be up on your toes and think you're doing it right, and you're not. So here's some tips to really help you out, because after I show you these tips, I'm gonna give you the time frames that you probably need to be using to work on this, and they're not gonna be short time frames. Maybe short intervals, but the time frames are lengthy. So let's start with this foam wedge, or if you can get your hands on a slant board. That will be very good for this. And all it is it keeps your heels elevated, your toes are flat, and this makes the beginning of your Asian squat very easy because you don't have to sit all the way down into your heels. And so that imbalance that you feel when you first get down is not there because the wedge or the slant board is keeping you pushed forward. So you're better balanced. So this is a good start. You can use this for a bit until working your way down to getting your heels flat on the floor. What I'm talking about as far as balance is the reason that you pick up your heels and you balance on your toes is because when you go flat on your heels, you don't feel comfortable, so you start to fall backwards. It's a combination of things. It's not having strength and balance in your ankles. It's not having balance just throughout your body or the strength to really sit in that position properly. You may feel like you're doing it right, but your butt's probably too high or it's off to the side or your heels are... There's a myriad of things that could be going on. You just haven't got the form yet. So, foam wedge. On the subject of balance, if you are sitting back here and you get your feet flat, but the issue is that you don't feel comfortable, you feel like you're falling backwards. Holding one of these rollers out in front of you as a counterbalance works. That helped me out when I first started because what I always felt was this. I always felt like I was falling backwards, so I had to use one of these things to balance me back out. That takes me to having this kettlebell. The reason this kettlebell is out is if this isn't enough to balance you, to counterbalance you, then you can just set the kettlebell down, work your way into your squat, have the bell out in front, and it's an anchor. So when you start to feel off balance or tipping backward, you just hold on to the bell. You keep it as a way to anchor yourself, and it helps you balance or find your balance and stay there. The last tip is with the roller again. If you really just can't get down, even on the wedge, you just can't, then you just start like this. Put a roller down and sit on it. Get used to sitting in this position. But if you're doing this tip to help ease yourself into balancing, then stay on this thing a lot longer, 5 to 10 minutes. Now, be mindful that when you're sitting on a roll like this, to get used to it, leaning your weight back like this is going to create problems for you because you will get used to sitting in a squat with your weight back, your chest up. And so when you take this away, you're off balance, you see? So as you're sitting here, you want to be taking your weight off of this thing, kind of tilting forward a bit, shoulders towards your knees, okay? That way when we take it away, you can sit comfortably in an Asian squat. So again, guys, the benefits of the Asian squat or resting squat or passive squat, whatever you want to call it, are many. My recommendation for you is at least 5 minutes a day. The recommendation that's often given is 10 minutes. You can push it to that, but you don't have to. I think 5 minutes, when I started doing this, I stuck with 5 minutes a day, and now I probably do 2 or 3 minutes a day. Mainly because I can just sit in a passive squat for 2 or 3 minutes, so as I'm teaching my classes or moving around or in between, I just drop into a passive squat and I just stay there for several minutes. Now, that takes me to the intervals. Because you can't sit comfortably down there that long right now, do it in intervals. Do 30-second intervals, 1-minute intervals. Work your way up to maybe 2 minutes or something. It won't be easy, but just do the 30-second intervals and do as many as it takes to hit 5 minutes a day. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be of great benefit to your Muay Thai and your jiu-jitsu, but just to your overall health and fitness all around. In order to keep this video a little shorter, I'm not going to go into all the health. I mean, there's so many, and I covered that in previous videos. I will leave the links to my other videos covering this topic in the description below, so you can check those out. But this video was specifically to help you guys who train understand the benefits of this position. So I hope it was helpful, guys, and I hope you're enjoying the content. If you are, please be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll keep this thing going. We appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next video.